Today we replace the front shocks and control arm bumpers on the 2002 Chevy Avalanche 1500. These front and rear shock absorbers and bumpers fit Chevy 1500 trucks from 2002 to 2006. I'll put the links in the description for all these parts and tools. The tools needed: a 1/2-inch ratchet and socket set with extensions. If you have a 1/2-inch impact gun, it will make the job easier with a socket. A 50mm wrench, vice grip, a 22mm socket for the wheels, adjustable wrench, and a hammer and large flat screwdriver, a tape measure, and 2 jack stands. And of course the shocks. Make sure the emergency brake is on and the rear wheels are chucked. Here's the floor jack, and we start by placing it on the chassis behind the front passenger side wheel and lift it off the ground. Gently use the 22mm socket on the plastic hub nuts and take it off. Then use it on the 1/2-inch impact for the 5 lug nuts to take off the wheels. Next, we support the lower control arm with a jack stand and lower the jack so it's resting on it. Now we lube the bottom bolt thread on the shock and do the same to the top. Take the 15mm wrench and start taking off the nut. If the shock starts spinning, you can place a vice grip on the top of the thread where there's a flat spot for it, or you may be able to hold the shock from spinning with your hand. This one's not spinning, so we're good. With a 21mm socket on the impact and the adjustable wrench, we take off the nut on the lower control arm and then slide the bolt out. Now we can slide the shock forward away from the lower control arm bracket and slide it down off the top bracket. Notice the front driver's side control arm bumper is missing from its cup. We'll put in the new one now with the shock out of the way, but before that we'll clean around the 4 prongs that hold the rubber bumper in the cup. After it's all cleaned, we install one of the 2 front control arm bumpers by inserting it into the cup on an angle and then carefully push it in the top edges, past all the prongs until you feel it grabbed. You can see the yellow on the slots to make sure it's all the way in. Before installing the new shock, it will need to be primed. Compress it and let it extend at least 3 times. This will ensure that the gas and oil are in the proper position inside the shock. Now we can start the installation of the new shock. Remove the nut and top bushing, but leave the bottom bushing and washer. Insert it into the top bracket and place the top bushing and washer. Then screw the nut. We're not going to tighten it yet. Now align the bottom of the shock with the mounting holes in the lower control arm. You may have to compress the shock to line it up. Tighten it just enough and we'll torque it later to 59 foot-pounds. With the 15mm wrench, snug the upper nut. If the shock is spinning, you can hold the upper part of the shock with a vice grip, or you can hold it with your hand as you tighten it. Back to the lower arm nut and bolt. We place the adjustable wrench on the bolt, and with a 21mm socket and torque bar, we tighten it to 59 foot-pounds. Then, using a 15mm socket on the torque bar, we torque the top to 15 foot-pounds. We put the wheel back on and the lug nuts. And using the 1/2-inch impact gun with a 22mm socket, just snug them tight, and we'll let the torque wrench do it the right way. With the wheel on the ground, each lug nut is torqued to 140 foot-pounds in the cross pattern. We put on the center cap and with just a socket, gently tighten each plastic nut. You don't want to strip them. Looks like the new shock raised it about 3/4 of an inch. It was 35.5 and now it's 36.25. We're moving on to the other front shock, but on the next video we will show how we replace the rear shock and rear axle bumpers. And that's about it. Thank you for watching. I hope this video helped you along the way, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments. See the description for links of tools and materials used in this video, and you all have a great day.